So it turns out I have lupus. Now, if you've been watching my lives for some time, you would have seen me mention lots of little things happening, odds and ends that on their own don't normally mean very much. But as it turns out, all those things added up to actually be signs of lupus. Now, I didn't know very much about lupus before, and the things I thought I knew about it turns out to not be correct. Things such as the type of person that gets lupus, the age group, what lupus actually is. But let's just say all the things that I've had wrong with me recently on their own or with a couple of things added together doesn't necessarily mean you have lupus. But the funny thing was that there are 10 things that if you have them, then it does signify lupus, and it means you have lupus to a high degree. Now, it turns out as well, there are actually a list of 30 things that are chronic lupus, and I have all 30. Yes, and I won't run through them all right now because this isn't a medical tutorial. If you are interested to know more, then of course I will connect with you. But the point is, it is rare to have all 10 of the main listed things, but I have the full list of 30 and I have mentioned most of these things. So what does it mean for me? Well, 100% I'm not entirely sure how it will change my life completely, but there will be some major changes that I've already implemented. Now, as I say, I'm not going through every single thing because I don't want you to sit there and say, oh, I think I have lupus. But the main category for me was the SLE, which is my main issue of my kidney problems, and I now have to have enzymes 3 times a day in order to actually be able to eat, but I'm still unable to eat 99% of foods even with the enzymes. So that is one big difference, and it's not one of these things where you could say, oh, I have a cheat day. That's going to cause me major problems. And I have also been told that I am very high risk of having to go on dialysis for my kidneys if I even say, oh, let's have a cheat day. So it's something I've got to bear in mind. I've been told to go straight in if I suffer from any further kidney problems more than I already am experiencing. So I know I have to do a whole, I say diet, there's barely anything I can actually eat, even with the enzymes. So there's that. I have to do more rest, which, as you know, is a very difficult thing for me because with my brain damage and my coma issues, the problem is if I rest, it takes me a good few hours to get up and get going again. So that's very difficult, but I'm changing my lifestyle, let's say, so I have more restful activities rather than being on the go all the time. I am still going to grow my stuff because Mike said, what's the point now of you growing all the food? I enjoy doing it. It will be, I say, more relaxed. I've got a whole lot of stuff, luckily before Christmas I started seeding, and there's a lot of stuff which you will see the videos of. I have got videos still sitting in the pot of walks. There's quite a few more of those that I did last year that I obviously don't want to post all my walks at once, so you'll see walks. So don't think, oh, there's Dawn going for a nice walk again. I've got a lovely spring one that obviously I'm going to keep for spring, that was done last spring. As I say, I didn't want to put them all out back to back, and I was walking a lot. But yeah, there are different types of lupus, let me say that as well. And as I say, you don't need all of the things to have lupus, but I have it, a chronic version of lupus. I don't really know what else to say because, you know, I don't want to be too down, but I am talking real. As I say, it does entail lots more issues. How much I'll be doing YouTube now, I don't know. And please don't use the expression that people use a lot for me, oh, you look well. Because obviously I've already got major issues prior to having lupus, and I have to keep this sunny disposition or there is no point. So I don't know, as I say, quite what my life's going to entail, apart from major changes and maybe restructure of what I do and don't do. Although there are groups of people who suffer from lupus, as I say, it affects different people in different ways, and you have different symptoms and so on and so forth. I know a lot of people take to their bed and don't get up and all that, if that's what works for them. But for me, as I say, I cannot, when I feel like that, I cannot do that. That's because I have other issues as well, as I've mentioned. So I just really want to let you know what's going on. So if I don't appear, as I say, I've got some pre-edited videos that are for times when I wasn't going to be well prior to this anyway. I have some always in the bag. So don't assume, unless they're dated like the growing ones, then don't assume they were from now. Yeah, I don't really know what else to tell you right now. As I say, it's really new to me right now. It can't be any worse than what I've already got, let's put it that way. So it's just another addition. The good side of it is the fact that it explains all these things that suddenly started happening to me. I do put a lot of things down to my brain damage, because I know my brain actually shuts parts of my body down and suddenly malfunctions parts of my body in different ways, internally and externally. So I put it down to that, and so did my doctor, and she said, you know yourself more than I do, so that's why we weren't going on the route of lupus. But she did say about, I think my last talk with you was about when she said, right, you've got to cut out literally everything, mustn't have any protein food, which is 99% of foods, and many other things. So I think she was kind of going down that route then anyway, but being a GP, she cannot diagnose lupus herself. But in hindsight, she was basically suspecting lupus all along, I think. So, but as she said, you know yourself better than me. So I'm thinking now, had I not had the brain damage, medical problems and the issues that causes, I think we would have gone straight for lupus from day one. So yeah, as I say, don't know really what else to share with you. I just wanted to get out there right now. You know everything as soon as I know everything, as far as I can. And let's finish with some nice footage. I can hear the goats coming. Let's show you the goats. And thanks for all your kind messages in advance. I thought I'd do a video giving you an update on my recent diagnosis of lupus, and this concerns what I eat. Now, I was told only 4 items I could actually eat. Obviously, I've tried other things, introducing things of recommended lists that I have come across, and basically this is not a medical tutorial. This is what works for me. Now, before I go on to what I do eat, rather than telling you what many videos tell you what not to eat, therefore people with lupus find it very difficult to find meals, because there's so many things you can't eat, but there's very few videos what you can eat. Before I share that with you, I first want to tell you something that has really worked for me, and maybe this will work for you too. And that is that I take enzymes 3 times a day. So maybe try that. see if it works for you. For me, it's made a massive difference. It doesn't mean you can eat anything because you take enzymes. So I want to make that very clear. It's not an, okay, now you can eat and digest and eat anything. No. The enzymes you take in the middle of eating a meal. So you've got food going in you, then you take the enzymes, and then you continue with your meal. This is very important. Don't take them at the beginning of the meal, after the meal, or if you've missed taking the enzymes. And it's one enzyme 3 times a day. Now, the other thing that really works, and this is something I've done anyway, is I don't eat an evening meal in the evening. I eat my main meal at lunchtime, and then I used to have like tea, a small meal like a sandwich or soup, something like in the evenings. Well, I've now shifted that I try not to even eat anything in the evening except for fruit and particular fruit. So I'll share that with you in a minute. So don't eat in the evening. I try not to eat after 4:30, 5 o'clock, and then only fruit. So try those 3 things. They are things that have really worked for me. So try those first and foremost. I've also given up coffee. This was actually a bad trigger, which I didn't feel was a trigger. Cheese is my main no, but I have had meals with cheese of different types, and they've not been so bad if it's been a tiny bit. Certainly don't eat any processed foods or anything that isn't a raw food, as in anything that's mixed with anything else, has additives, preservatives. Any of these things are going to be a trigger for most people. So think about these things. But as I say, this is really to show you what you can eat, because there's so many videos out there saying what you can't eat. It's hard to find meals. So I'll share this with you. This is my main food bowl. Yes, I'm like a dog. I have a food bowl. The best things you can eat are blueberries. Now, all this is dried fruit. You can, of course, do your own dried fruit at home. I don't do that. I buy dried fruit because it's more convenient for me, and I can't grow a lot of things that I can eat. I did have fresh of these things, but then you feel compelled to eat them because you've got to eat them in a short time. So I recommend dry fruit. Make sure, again, they're not coated in sugar or something like this, anything that you can't eat. So I have blueberries. These are one of the top things you should be eating, whether a few handfuls for breakfast with some other fruit, or just if you feel like you need to snack. Because at first, if you're suddenly giving up most foods, you will feel a little hungry. But I tell you, pretty soon, you don't feel hungry at all. Your body gets used to what's happening, and your body thanks you if you have lupus. Another really good thing to have is cranberries. So I tend to have for breakfast just a few blueberries, a few cranberries. I also had gojo berries. So I had all these 3 for breakfast: cranberries, blueberries and gojo berries. And that was all I would have for breakfast, because I'm not a big breakfast person anyway. I used to always have eggs. That is something that's controversial. Can you have eggs or can you not have eggs? Eggs are dairy. I'm supposed to be on food with no protein, so that would be in an egg. But I have heard some people say try a hard-boiled egg. I've tried that. I still suffer, so I just have blueberries, cranberries and gojo berries for breakfast. Handful of those, that does me. And then for tea, like an evening something, because I feel if I'm eating later in the day, that's when I have my problems overnight laying down and my kidneys are suffering badly. I'm actually close to dialysis, so this is why I'm doing it this way, and this works for me. I have here a fruit salad. Now, do watch if you buy a fruit salad. There are many fruits you cannot eat, so do check any fruit salad what the contents are. I just feel that gives me a bit more interest sometimes to sit and eat something a bit different, and obviously it's a bit more colourful. One fruit I can eat, I am growing it but I haven't got any fruit yet. This is papaya. Papaya is really nice. It gives you that sweetness taste if you're someone missing sweet things. Papaya is very good. It's got that sweetness to it. And eat dried apricots. Oh, bear in mind as well, some fruits you can have fresh, some fruits you can only eat dried. So I'll see if I can go through that for you as well. So it gets very confusing, some of these, what you can and can't eat. So dried apricots, I got bored with those, but Mike likes them, so he's eating those. But dried apricots are very good. Now, I don't know if you can get these. These are pineapple with cranberry. These are very tasty. I've never heard of such a beast. So go and check your supermarket and just have a look down the dried fruit section, see what you can come up with. Yes, these are very nice. They've got very different taste. So these are pineapple with cranberry. They're purpley looking. I don't know how other colours coming out on the film, but these are purple. My favourite of all is cantaloupe. These are very sweet, so if you're not into sweet things, don't have them. As I say, these are all dried. These are cantaloupe, and I'm really loving those. They're my favourite. I could just sit and eat those. I'm not getting bored. And this is the other thing. Get yourself a selection, because you're going to get bored if you're just having the same thing again and again. And the other thing I like a lot, I eat a lot of these, is obviously dried pineapple. I do buy a fresh one now and then, but as I say, it's that thing you've got to try and eat it all. So I'd rather buy dried, even though it's a little bit more expensive. As Mike said, if it's keeping you healthy, we're going to buy it. So that is basically my main source of food right now. Now, when you get a list, then obviously only introduce one thing slowly at a time. It's no good eating a couple of things, having reactions or problems or whatever it is for you, and then finding out, or which thing was it. Now, at the top here I've put walk. This is to remind me to tell you that after eating, just sitting, say watching TV or something like that is not good for you. Now, we're not talking a hike or climbing or anything like that, just moving about. But I found not to do anything bending. So you want to be straight. That's kind of what I'm saying. After eating, be straight. So a little walk and movement, but not bending, reaching, stretching, anything like this. This was another factor that I found quite important. Okay, so the list that I was given to try slowly introducing things, as you can see, things are already being eaten on this list and maybe not. So I will tell you what I eat of these things now. So the pineapple we've said. Now, some places do tell you only to have fresh pineapple, but as you can see, the dried pineapple is okay. But fresh means not tinned. So on the whole, don't eat any tinned fruit. Oranges, yes, I'm eating oranges. Now again, I can have that for tea. Also apples. I like the green apples. So you might find certain types are okay, so give that a try. Lettuce. Now my lunches, if I can remember, I'm going to give you some shots of what I eat for lunch. But basically, I make a salad of the things that I'm going to say in my list that you can have. So lettuce. They say you can eat red grapes. Well, I've been okay on those. Raspberries, they're controversial. Blueberries, I've said. Cherries, I've not tried. Strawberries, again controversial. Some people can't eat them. Basically, anything that people can have allergies from, might be excluded from these lists. Dried cranberries, as you can see, they're a go. Now these are things I haven't tried, but these are ideas. Peppermint oil, lemon water, cup of warm water, watermelon smoothie, ginger tea, green tea, peppermint tea, and also for relief, but I haven't tried, this is recommended, smithing cone. So I can't recommend or not, but that is something that has been suggested. And then in my salads, I sometimes put red peppers. They must only be red peppers. Carrots. I do eat carrots in my salads. I also eat tuna in my salad, and I grate some ginger. Ginger has been great. I buy fresh ginger, and I do have a video on that of how to prepare and eat your ginger, and also how to grow your own ginger. So I'll link that below. Also, I have some crystallized ginger that if I've eaten something for tea and I'm like, oh, I'm not sure, I eat some of that on top. So I have been trying soup lately, and I can't say I would recommend that, but I've had it at tea time. A lot of things, if I have at lunchtime, are okay, but if I try them at tea time, they're not okay. So bear that in mind. Now on the list is meat. I eat chicken all the time. That is my main source of food. So sometimes in a salad, sometimes just as chicken. So chicken I highly recommend. Red meat I've tried this week burgers, lunchtime. I felt it was extremely filling, but I seemed to be alright, but I had tons of ginger afterwards. So I wouldn't say yay or nay. I'd say have it maybe once or twice a week maximum when you start having it. Meatballs I haven't tried, but I think I would digest those better. And fish. You can eat all types of fish. Currently, I'm only having tuna. Now, these are things I haven't tried, but when you're introducing things back, these are things they say to do first. Gravy, but do watch what's in it. Corn pasta. Now, I've just started eating corn wraps, and that gives me a change to my salads. I've been doing chicken corn wraps. Let me show you those. It's interesting, if you're going to start eating pastas or anything like that, you use corn. So these are corn tortillas. And these are the ones I've been using, and I've been fine with those. I find two very filling. As I say, with that, any of the ingredients I've told you I'm eating, chicken or chicken and lettuce, or I always put a bit of grated ginger in everything I'm eating. Oh, parsley, I'm eating a lot of parsley from my garden. That's going really well as well. So I'm getting some greens, because there's lots of greens that you cannot eat, especially dark greens. Okay, boiled egg, I've talked about that. So again, these I haven't tried, but these are what they suggest introducing next if you want to introduce more things. Some people might feel happier just sticking with what they're eating. If that suits you and you're not bored with it, I would be very concerned trying something else when I don't need to try something else. Pumpkin, leeks, chives. Now I have had a few chives. I grow chives and they were ready. They've been okay. So spicy stuff, I would call that spicy, low grade spice is okay. Artichokes. Now I wasn't sure about this. I grow artichokes and I've frozen some. I'm a little concerned trying those because they say nothing that gives you acid feeling or bloatiness. Now I don't get bloated with oranges or lemons, so they've been okay, but you've got to think hard about that. Artichokes is something that would bloat you, so I don't know if I would try that. Cucumbers give me acid, so I don't like having those, but they're on the next list to try. Potatoes. Now, I've been having a few, and I mean a few, small potatoes with Sunday dinner. And my husband makes a Sunday roast chicken, and then I use the chicken the rest of the week. He buys a whole chicken, cooks that up, and so I've been having gravy. Now, I think it's onion gravy is one we've been having. So as I say, check your gravy, and then any of the greens I can have, or vegetables I can have. So I've been having a few potatoes just once a week, and I mean very few. So try that. Again, that's something controversial, but it's fine for me. Then they also suggest yellow melon. Well, as you see, I've been having the dried cantaloupe, peach, dried apricots we talked about, watermelon. I did have that at the very beginning and I was fine with that, and mandarin. Then they also say you could have maple syrup, which I find interesting as it's sugary. Vinegar, I would find that interesting because that's acid. And mustard. Now, I've also been suggested plant potassium sauces, which are sprouts and microgreens, asparagus, pineapple, cucumber, garlic, ginger root, figs, aloe vera, and papaya and coconut. But that's up to you. I can't recommend or not recommend there, but as you see, some of those things are common to what we've said. And then a basic menu, if you don't want what I do, the dried fruit for breakfast, the wraps or the salad, something like that for dinner, and then tea, nothing but fruit. Another suggestion is breakfast, raspberry and blueberry, so that's very similar to what I've done. Lunch, roasted red peppers, chicken and chives. For a snack, I wouldn't recommend snacking other than dried fruit, but it's suggested a boiled egg, orange or walnuts. Not sure about that. And then dinner of the evening, again, I wouldn't recommend your main meal of the evening, but it's suggested zucchini noodles, sauté shrimps, grated ginger and some peanuts. So, I mean, take all this down, do what I've done, make a board. I know now that I'm basically on my dry fruit, chicken in shapes and forms, salads in shapes and forms, wraps, maybe a little meat every week, but definitely the chicken is my main source of everyday meals. So write a board, maybe copy out the things you like on this board, and then start with what I'm using, and then go from there. Let me know in the comments below. As I say, it's very controversial, and also the same things don't work for everyone. I've already mentioned some of the things on this list I wouldn't have. And as I say, if you're okay with what you're eating, unless you're really totally bored with it, why would you start adding something else in? That's up to you. So as I say, I do try things now and then. I have been out to eat and I've had things. This is why I knew that, oh, cheese is a big no-no for me, as I say. But we mostly have mature cheddar and strong cheeses. And I did go out one day and I had a burrito and that had cheese in it, but not gallons and gallons of cheese, just like a little bit of runniness in there. And I actually asked what the cheese was, because I'd been twice now and have that and no reaction. And they said it was a mix of mozzarella and Edam cheese. So I could try that if I really wanted cheese, but seeing as I get such a bad effect from it, why would I eat that when it's not going to be the best thing for me? So as I say, do what you want to do. Don't deny yourself something if you want it, but have it early in the day. Oh, I have had a tiny bit of chocolate this week, but again, if I have a square at lunchtime, I'm okay. If I have a square in the evening, it affects me. So you've got to play around with it. As I say, don't deny yourself something as long as you're not really ill with it, but have it early in the day. And then if you're bored in the evening, find you want to munch on something normally, then get up and go and do something, change your routine, and then you won't want anything. And here we just see at the bottom, I've put enzymes for digestion, no gluten, no sugar. So let me know in the comments below. Obviously it depends on your symptoms. My symptoms are mostly, the main part on my kidney problems, and I was close to needing dialysis. I do have other issues of lupus as well, all the common problems of lupus, but my eating situation was I cannot digest anymore as well, because to put it simply, the good bits in my body were being destroyed by the bad bits in my body, hence why the enzymes work for me. So as I say, comment below what works for you, but what your symptoms are that you're working against. Good luck to you if you have lupus, and don't forget, everybody has different forms of symptoms within their form, which there's more than one of lupus.